Hello, hello, hello. It is one of my favorite times of the year, and that's iced tea month. Um, which I guess is kind of the truth because the truth of the matter is that I really love anything when we're talking about different ways of making tea. And iced tea is one of the greatest way of talking about how to make tea outside of the conventional way. Now, any of you that are watching, if you're in the United States, are scratching your head and going, what is she talking about? And I say that because in the United States, 60% of the tea that's consumed is in fact cold, is in fact iced. And here in Canada and in most of the rest of the world, we tend to consume our tea hot instead of cold. So there you go. I think that that's one of the great lessons of iced TV and one of the great lessons of how much fun we have every year when we do this. Because every single year I've got incredible guests that give up their time very generously, as always, and really just share with us new and different ways of icing your tea. Now, making iced tea is not complicated. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later, but I'm going to start by introducing my first guest to you, because iced TV is not iced TV without my lovely guests. And my first guest you have seen before. She is the lovely Rikko Osaki. Rikko is a certified Japanese green tea advisor and the founder of Hokusan Tea Canada. Last year, the company won first place for Japanese tea at the North American Gold Medal Tea Competition. Rikko has a lifelong passion for quality tea, not just a beverage. It's a whole experience and a bona fide ritual that brings a special vibe to people's lives. Anybody who's ever had any experience with Japanese tea truly understands that statement. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you my lovely friend Rikko. Hi, Rikko.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. It's nice and bright where you are.
I know, I was hoping it's going to be a little bit more sunny today, but I guess it's okay. We'll still take this, not so cold weather.
Whatever this is, the yellow haze is slowly starting to lift. As you know, everybody knows at the moment, Canada is on fire, literally burning. 400 wildfires throughout the country and resulted in really, really, really bad air conditions for all of us. Breathing conditions, that's the better word to be using. Anyways, that's bad news. Let's talk about the good stuff. Tell me, Rikko, do you often ice your teas?
In the summertime, definitely.
Yeah.
I do iced matcha or loose leaf Japanese green tea. We often drink cold, hojicha, genmai, sencha. It's often, even in Japan, I think people prefer cold. It gets quite hot there and humid.
Yeah.
So cold iced tea is definitely a major popular item
Yeah.
in the summer.
It's really interesting because I think it's one of the few, somebody's going to write to me and tell me I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the few producing countries that actually embraces iced tea, bottled tea, ready to drink, and in a really nice way because it doesn't have to be sweet, right? You can get unsweetened iced tea in a bottle at pretty much any vending machine in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. It's very convenient.
Yeah.
Actually, any year round, we would have option of cold and hot everywhere in Japan. Very convenient. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you are going to make for us a summer strawberry green tea. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. So today I am using Japanese green tea, but I picked specifically Asamushi Sencha. So this is lightly steamed sencha. We have generally two types of steaming process. One is lightly steamed, and then other one is deeply steamed. Asamushi means lightly steamed sencha. It's very nicely, unlike deep steam green tea. Light steam one is a little bit more yellowish color, light flavor, sweet, where deep steamed green tea is usually bold flavor, much more deeper green color. Asamushi often is grown on the steep mountain instead of flat area of the tea farms. So it's often hand-picked, and it's beautiful mountain misty flavor because the steep mountain where they grow. So for the summery flavor to mix with lemon or other nice refreshing ingredients, I would recommend using asamushi.
Asamushi. So for those of you listening that don't know the tea processing, really quick lesson for you. Steaming is the state that part of the processing state that tea goes through in order to stop oxidation from happening. And the Japanese steam their teas in order to make that process happening. Whereas a lot of Chinese green teas will be pan fired. Instead, traditionally, the lines are blurred all over the place at this point, but Japan is very traditional for its steamed. And I find that it changes the flavor of the tea. It makes it grassier and more vegetal.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I usually describe it to people as imagine the difference between steaming a head of broccoli or putting it on the grill, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The objective is the same. You want to cook it, right? But the results, the flavor result of the same product, you start with raw broccoli. The end result when you steam broccoli versus when you put it on a grill, completely different flavor. And that's how you need to think of green tea. So you know that. I'm explaining that to everybody else who's listening that may not understand the processing. Okay, so asamushi is where you started.
So yeah, I picked for the recipe today, we are using light steamed because it's light steamed green tea. Unlike hukamushi deep steam, you want to steep a little bit shorter time. So we recommend steeping about 80 degrees hot water. For hukamushi, you would steep it usually for 1 minute. For this asamushi, you want to make it quick and light and very refreshing. We only steep it for 30 seconds.
Wow.
So that is very important when you're steeping good green tea for quality.
Yeah.
You make sure it's the right temperature as well as the steeping time. So I steeped this tea about 30 seconds last night. I already put in the fridge to chill this for today.
Okay.
And I also have 1 ounce of gin. If we would like to add it, make a summery cocktail.
I do.
Yes, I know. I was like, for Shabnam, I have to add alcohol. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have a reputation.
Well, it's summer, you know.
It's
yeah, exactly. And you can use any sparkling water, but today I'm using berry flavored sparkling water. Any soda is fine, about 100 milliliter, and around the same quantity for green tea, same ratio, 100 ml, 100 ml.
Okay.
Here I have chopped strawberry and raspberry infused in honey and lemon. I've mixed them last night just to put underneath.
So I love that idea. So you chop the strawberries and the raspberries, and then you put that in lemon and honey?
Yeah.
Love that.
Overnight.
See, I learn something every single time we do iced tea. Okay, I'm going to steal that. Go on.
Okay, so that's all we have. We just need tea, a little bit more garnish. I'm going to also garnish with mint and lemon in the end, but soda, green tea, and you're good to go. I forgot to mention, I made this little beautiful edible flower ice cubes last night. I wanted to make it extra pretty. I'm seeing these trends on Instagram, and if you want to impress your guest or your friends to make it summer party, it's very easy. You just literally add any flower into the ice cube. You can also add green tea or matcha to ice cube to make the color icing. It's all these fun ideas we can all create. Anyway, so I'm going to be adding these strawberry puree into the glass. So this is only things that has a little bit sweet. The rest of the item doesn't have any sugaring, but nice honey and lemon flavored And of course, natural sweetness from the strawberry would be very beautiful. So I'll just fill the glass, the bottom part, with strawberries.
Nice.
And I will be adding these edible flower
Yep.
ice cubes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think this little, these little detail makes such a difference in the end.
Devil's in the details.
The final quality.
Yep. Gorgeous.
So what kind of iced tea do you drink in the summer, Shabnam?
So I usually have a pitcher of iced tea in my fridge always.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I can't get the sentence out. But I will do. I'll do botanicals. So sometimes I'll do just fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, just straight fruit. But I love black teas and I love green teas. I love them all. What I do, however, quite often, Rikko, is I will make my iced tea and then I will, instead of your sparkling water, I top it up in the fridge with juice.
What kind of juice?
Anything, whatever goes with what I'm making. So sometimes it'll be apple cider. Sometimes it'll be lemonade. Sometimes it'll be cranberry juice, peach juice, whatever will complement the iced tea that I'm making. I'll do 3/4 iced tea and then 1/4 of the juice. And that way I don't need to sweeten it either because the juice is sweet enough.
And it already has a nice flavor and all the sugar levels. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I added this edible flower ice cube now, and I will add a little bit of gin.
Yes. Very nice.
Some people like to shake, but I like to stir. So you can pick whichever you like. You can do shaking or stir.
Okay.
I will be adding this cold Asamushi green tea, about 100 ml. And then you can top with any soda water you like.
What a beautiful drink. That's so pretty.
Yeah, when you can see the inside in the summertime, when you're on the patio with a girl, it's just so pretty.
Very.
And I will top with mint.
Gorgeous.
And perhaps you can also add lemon if you like. So this is strawberry green tea summer recipe. Yeah.
Gorgeous. That is so pretty. I mean, anybody who says, enjoy it for me. Anybody who says I don't like iced tea, I say pay attention to some of these really fun recipes. I love that, Rikko. Really, really love that.
Thank you.
Not just because it's creative, which, it clearly is, but also because you're using a tea that, you're using a sencha, but you're using a particular type of sencha. And I think that people need to think about that sometimes when they're making their iced teas. You need to choose a tea that's going to work well with, what the process of what you're making, right?
Yeah, like the deep steeped green tea this time, Hukamushi might not work with this very fragile, summery, refreshing flavor. So you want to be picking lighter, steeped flavor.
It's all about balancing the flavors, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just like I choose a juice that works, you chose a berry sparkling water instead of just a regular one. But I suppose you could do anything, couldn't you?
Yeah, I guess you can do the peach juice. You can top the peach inside, or you can choose all different alternative options.
Love it. It sounds like we need to have a little cocktail party, you and I.
Yes.
In
the
garden. And Oscar, yes, and Oscar. Well, thank you, lovely Rikko. That was gorgeous, beautiful, and I'm sure it tastes gorgeous.
Yes.
I will definitely try it myself. But it's gorgeous to look at. And that is chef's kiss. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rikko. Take care.
Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye. What a pretty cocktail. I love that. And I say this every time, and I know that those of you with the watch are sick and tired of hearing me say this. I learn something new every single time. So my takeaway there is to do that macerated fruit at the bottom. Why not? Just add another layer of flavor to that. So onwards and upwards to my next guest, another favorite who you have seen on Ice TV before. You've seen her on Sofa Summit before. Nadia de la Vega. Nadia is a tea connoisseur and DAVIDsTEA's Director of Tea Sustainability and Content. She's been with the company since 2012. My goodness. Starting in regulatory before moving on to tea information, marketing, tea content training, and finally, sustainability. A big, big, big hat that she wears, and she wears it very well, I can tell you that. Welcome, Nadia. Hello.
Lovely introduction. Thank you for having me, Shabnam.
How are you?
I'm very well. As you can see, we're gearing up for our iced tea celebration in the office. So I thought,
love that. What are you doing?
We are having a lot of iced teas. There's a contest on you were supposed to pick a tea and dress like the tea, and people have to guess. And I think there's a winner of some sorts. So we shall see what the celebration will bring.
I love that. That's fabulous. So are you dressed as a tea that you're...
I can't say because then...
Oh, of course, because people have
I can jeopardize my chances.
No. I definitely would not want that to happen. So yes. You have some fabulous blends at DAVIDsTEA that I think make really, really fun iced teas.
Definitely. DAVIDsTEA is known to really bring flavorful, fun iced teas to the market, whether it's with tea bases or whether it's infusion and herbal blends. So
perfect. So I know that you are making today a spicy watermelon margarita.
Yes.
Before you do that though, so I was in Mexico a couple of months ago, and I needed my beverage of choice by poolside, as everybody does, and I named my preferred cocktail Rose because of her gorgeous color. Okay. And she was a spicy watermelon margarita.
Oh, really? Oh, but you used watermelon. How did you make it?
Well, I didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't make it.
I said one more.
You're like one of those.
Más, por favor, was all I said. But, so it was watermelon, pepper habanero.
Okay. Oh, that's very spicy. Wow.
I know, very so good. And tequila and basil.
Yeah.
And then what I call crack, but what in Mexico is called tajin.
We're having it today. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So enough of that. You tell. My mouth is watering already. So tell us your version of this. I love it.
So we have a really amazing tea infusion. I want to call it a fruit infusion because there's melon, there's lemongrass, there's beetroot, there's rosehip, moringa, nettle leaf, and fennel, chili, and salt. So it's like it's a pack full in your mouth.
Wow.
It's a beautiful blend. And when you look at it quickly, doesn't, you don't think that it's going to steep because of all the lemongrass.
Right. But it's got beets in it.
But it's got beetroot in it. Correct. So this is my take. As you know, I'm from Mexico. So why not featuring this beautiful margarita? I think we were very inspired for this iced tea collection with trips around the world.
Yeah.
And Mexico has been really on the radar. I feel like this last year, everyone was going to Mexico.
Yeah.
And everyone was asking me, like, where should I go? And I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
Finally getting its moment.
Yeah.
So it just seemed natural to me to try to adapt it into like a very easy to make margarita. And you don't need to add any extra sugar because normally when you make margaritas, there's a lot of lime and a lot of sugar because you need to balance the sourness and also the strength of the tequila because the ratios are really high up there.
Yeah.
That's why people love margaritas.
Yes,
It makes me so happy.
Very happy.
So we're gonna use this beautiful blend that's new. Do you want me to start making it while we
Go
speak?
for it.
Perfect. So whenever I make cocktails or use tea as a base, I use a very concentrated version of the tea because
Okay.
because it will get diluted with all
Yeah.
the ice. So you want it to have a nice flavor and to be concentrated. So for this recipe, the ratio that I love the most with 3 perfect spoons of watermelon heat.
Okay.
I'm adding it into my steeper.
Okay.
Into my little DAVIDsTEA steeper.
Right.
And I'm going to add 4 ounces of water. That's half a cup of water.
Oh gosh. Okay. So very concentrated. Yep.
It's very concentrated.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like unless I'm doing traditional like garden, like your traditional Camellia sinensis or straight leaves, those don't need to be as concentrated because
Right.
they already pack a punch. And you want to be able to distinguish the nuances. But in this, when you're using infusions and blends, I feel you really need to make a concentrated version. So I steep it for 5 minutes, and the timer started.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of what I like to do when I'm doing cocktails. We're doing, as you know, DAVIDsTEA, we really like to do fun cocktails and show people all the different ways that you can enjoy tea, whether it's hot or iced or as an iced latte. So I think that showcasing how teas can be used in recipes and cocktails is something that we really like to do, and we really like to show customers that you don't have to limit themselves. For example, to use fruit juices, or like sometimes there's drink mixes that are really packed with sugar.
So yeah.
So
I find, you've been a DAVIDsTEA since 2012. I mean, I know from my time in tea, if I look back, people have gotten so much more adventurous and knowledgeable and interested in learning how to do tea other than, the traditional hot tea in a cup. Do you know what I mean? Like it's more diversified.
100%. I think with the rise of social media and all of this, you see, and what is beautiful is that you see different interpretations of how to create cocktails. There's so much creativity everywhere. And I just am constantly inspired by how people use ingredients or teas to really make cocktails. So we just want to continue elevating and showcasing like the creativity of
I'm just surprised. I'm just always surprised that people continue to come up with a new way. You know what I mean? I'm like surely we've seen everything by now, but
I don't think so because there's always the world of tea is so vast. Even if you're only looking at Camellia sinensis and white, green, and there's so much variety within Camellia sinensis alone.
Yeah.
And from one region to another, from one terroir to another. And now when you're adding blends, like it's
endless.
Vast. The world is vast.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes it fun because you can really personalize it. So if you don't like fruit infusions, then you can try like the cocktail that Rikko was doing. Look beautiful, like there's so many different techniques, different recipes that you can do. You can make it very simple or very complicated. Like you can infuse it into a syrup.
Yes.
And then have many layers, or you can do something more simple. So because I don't want to just carry on talking, because of the magic of television, I have already...
Yes, bim.
Bam! 5 minutes has passed.
Yes.
I had previously infused my tea and let it cool, because that's another thing that my pro tip on making tea cocktails: make your concentrate and let it cool to at least room temperature.
Yeah.
Why? Because if the tea is hot, then it's going to start melting your ice, and the resulting cocktail is going to be very watery, and that is something you don't want, because you want also that mouthfeel. Right? So we have to be cognizant of that. And I made this one like about 10 minutes before the live started so that it would be cool to room temperature.
Perfect.
Here's the one so that you can see it's not just the magic of TV. I'm going to pour it out so that
Nice.
people can see
See the
the
color.
beautiful color.
Gorgeous. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the red from the beets, but also the hibiscus, right?
Yeah, correct. There's no hibiscus here. So it's just
there's no.
just the beet. No, it's melon.
Oh,
There's
okay.
lemongrass, beetroot. There's some rosehip. There's some moringa. There's
Okay,
watermelon.
so
There's,
then it's just
yeah,
beet. Okay.
it's just the beet, but it results in such a beautiful color. You know, that's one of the things that I think I'm very grateful for our R&D team because they have so much expertise. And when you have a tea that's, if you're using even melon or watermelon as a dried ingredient, the color is not going to be what
Yes.
it's not going to look like a
No.
mouth-watering watermelon. So you want to
Yeah.
make sure that the customer is also having that experience in the cup. I think DAVIDsTEA is, we are known for that, to creating experiences in cups.
Yeah.
And we really think about the whole thing. We want there to be that watermelon color when you're steeping watermelon here. You know? So I think that's part of the fun of making and creating.
That's a great tagline, creating experiences in a cup.
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to write it down.
You should write that down. That was a good one. I like that one. It's a really good one.
It's part of my job. Okay, so I've already steeped my watermelon heat, and I'm going to start building my cocktail. So I have a little shaker. If you prefer the type of margaritas that are slushy, go ahead and do it in the slushy version. I like it more
over ice.
This with a lot of ice. So I'm going to
Me too.
fill my shaker with ice. Sorry if it's making a loud noise.
That's okay.
And our teams are coming. And I only have 2 minutes to finish. We're gonna
I love that you're having an iced tea competition. That's awesome.
We're gonna use 2 ounces of the steep tea.
Okay.
Okay. And my little shaker. Not to get dirty. 2 ounces of tequila. I can't show brands.
Yep.
But
unless an alcohol company would like to endorse iced tea, of course, that would be a different conversation.
When people ask me, because I'm from Mexico, I get a lot of like, what tequila? Yeah. Like you said, maybe they should endorse tea.
Off the record, yeah. No, I hear you. But you use regular tequila. You're not using mezcal or anything like that, right?
I'm using regular. Normally, to make beverages like margaritas, I really like to use a white or silver tequila because you want also to taste the other ingredients.
Yeah.
And the one I'm using is my preferred one when people ask me.
Okay.
So then I'm just using a lime.
Okay.
Please use limes. Please don't use lemons when you're doing a margarita.
Yeah.
It's
agreed.
Limes. The green ones, please.
They're not interchangeable. Lemons and limes.
No.
Really, I mean, if anybody wants to take anything away from iced TV today, it's not even about tea. Lemons and limes are not interchangeable. Stop doing that. No.
Especially when you're creating drinks, because the green one gives a little bit more of a sweetness and aromatic, whereas this lime is more sour. It will not create the balance that you're trying to look for. So that was half an ounce of lime juice, and then I'm going to add half an ounce of orange liqueur. It could be
nice.
This orange liqueur or another orange liqueur that is a little bit sweeter. Depends on your flavor profile. Now, you can also add half a teaspoon of agave. I'm not adding agave because I don't want it to be too sweet. I can see, if you see me looking over the computer, because people are lining up for the.
They're ready for their competition. I know.
But they're also like, oh wait, I didn't know that there was cocktails involved. So I add. Okay, so first we're gonna rim our glass. I rim it with lime, and like you said, the secret sauce, which is our tahini.
It's tahini. So For anybody watching, Tajin is actually, it's readily available now. I used to bring it back from Mexico all the time. I've been having Tajin for years. So it's dehydrated chili and lime
And salt.
and salt. And I have a physical reaction when I even think about I start to salivate even talking. I love Tajin and
I
put it
think
on everything.
in Mexico, our snacks, and especially when we're drinking
Mhm.
tequila or mezcal, our snacks are primarily like fruits
Yes.
and vegetables.
Yeah.
And jicama, or it can be apples, it can be like oranges and tajin. And you normally have it on the side. Like if you go to a
Mango and
mezcaleria,
Tajin. Yeah.
if you go to a mezcaleria in Mexico, you'll probably have orange wedges with tajin on top. It makes for a healthy snack. And then I just served it. I just put a big ice cube. I served it.
Gorgeous.
You can decorate it with a nice dehydrated.
Beautiful.
Mm.
I love
my God.
it.
Cheers! I feel bad that we're not sharing
Cheers.
it.
I have tea. Cheers. Gorgeous. Love it,
Now-
love it, love it.
Takes me back home.
It takes good place to be.
So just thank you so much for having me. We ran 2 minutes over time.
That's
but
okay.
I really
That's all right.
appreciate it.
Worth it. Thank you, Nadia. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to everybody who is competing today. I love that. Share some of the recipes with us if you want, or let's talk later, and maybe we can feature the winner or something in SIP.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely celebration.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Nadia. Oh, delicious. Salivating, because I can actually taste it already in my mouth. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to our third guest, another regular, another one of our favorites, Katie Sear. Katie is a certified tap tea sommelier and the founder of Monarch Tea Co, a specialty tea company that brings together the traditional eloquence of tea time with a modern twist. Their teas can be found online and in select stores. Katie can often be found leading online and in-person tea workshops during tea and chocolate, or pairing tea and chocolate or tea and cheese. She's also an instructor for the Tea and Herbal Association of Canada's in-person tea sommelier courses in Toronto. Hello, lovely Katie.
Hi, Shabnam. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Yay.
Very.
Sipping.
What was that?
I'm excited to get sipping on some, especially after seeing all the previous drinks similar to you. I'm like, oh my God, that looks so good. Like everything's so pretty and colorful. This is exciting.
It totally is. And you're going to do a tip that I give people all of the time, which is so simple. And people, it's one of those, of course, aha moments when you say it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to make iced tea ice cubes.
Yes.
And you're also going to make a pineapple passion smoothie.
Yes.
It sounds delicious.
Hey.
And maybe something for breakfast.
Exactly. So this is a fun 2-part recipe. And I know it's such a simple life hack that you talked about, but it's new. And some people are like, oh, I would never think of that.
Yes.
So I'm excited to kind of share with folks some tips and tricks for jazzing up their iced tea and their smoothies.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So our first thing of the day, it sounds super practical and easy, but it's simply making iced tea ice cubes, which you can see here. So
oh my God, so pretty.
These are so pretty. It's a little harder to see on the light, but they just give such a visual appeal to any sort of drink. And I brought a few examples. This is an iced tea, and I just have some of the cubes floating here. Now, the benefit of using iced tea in your ice cubes is that as you know, it's hot outside, your drink starts to melt. It's not going to dilute the drink, just like our DAVIDsTEA guest was speaking about. You don't want drinks to taste diluted. So I've experimented with this over the week, not only in iced tea, but even in water and gin and tonic, which I know at Shabnam, it's both of our favorites. The nice thing about using an iced tea cube is as it starts to melt, it's just going to slowly infuse whatever flavor you made in your iced tea cube into your drink. So even in simple water, it just jazzed up the taste of that water, added a nice little zing. In a gin and tonic, it added a nice little bit of sweetness and herbaceous notes. And then in an iced tea, it just prevents it from tasting diluted. So it's multiple purpose.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is take your ice cube tray, pour whichever iced tea you've made. The important thing is just to make sure it's cooled down. Pour it into your ice cube tray, pop it in the freezer, and just let it freeze for a few hours, and they will come out looking so beautiful.
Yeah.
I know the texture is a little different than a traditional ice cube. They're almost like a tiny bit, it's hard to explain, like a little bit stickier, and they will kind of melt and leave some pink, let's say, on your fingers. So just be cautious of that if you're wearing white. But other than that, they've been so fun, and guests love the look of them.
Yeah.
In this case here, I use what's our lemon mango punch. So it's an herbal tisane. It's an apple, hibiscus, orange, and rose hip. So guests that are looking for something vibrant, look for something with rose hip and hibiscus, because that's going to give you that natural hot pink color. But you could use a jasmine, you could use chamomile, you could really use whatever you'd like to make your ice cube, whatever flavor you want to see kind of transcend itself into your drink of choice.
You could use your breakfast tea. I mean, I say this to people, like if you have a pot of your favorite English breakfast, Earl Grey, orange pekoe, whatever it is that you like just your traditional teas, it doesn't even have to be a flavor or anything like that. Instead of dumping that down the sink, I mean, I don't know who has leftover tea. Apparently, leftover tea is a thing. I don't know. But if you do, just pour that into an ice tray, and there you don't even have to make extra. Just pour it straight in.
Exactly. And as you said, with the black tea, it's nice because it gives you that extra tea flavor that we all love, either whether you're doing a traditional iced black tea or in other different recipes. It's going to really add that extra element and extra depth of flavor.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. So from there, you're going to make
so this is a pineapple passion smoothie. So this is kind of the two-part recipe here. So you're going to want to grab your blender, and we're going to do a couple different things. So smoothies, of course, as we all know, can be customized in many different ways. So this is just a foundational recipe, and I added, when you print the recipe, I added some extra additions that folks can add. But we're going to start the basics. So we have half a cup of orange juice. Add that in. And then we're going to take either half or a whole banana, whichever you choose. Pop that in there. And then a handful of frozen fruit of choice. In this case, I'm using a bunch of frozen pineapple and strawberries. A life hack I also use is any fruit that you have in the fridge. Let's say you don't get to it and you know, I'm not going to have time for that. Simply cut it up and pop it in a freezer bag. And it's so good for smoothies and often less expensive than buying already frozen fruit. Another hack I just learned is even doing that with orange slices. You can quarter an orange, pop it in the freezer, and it's a nice natural treat that as it slowly melts, you can eat the orange, and it's super refreshing.
Love that. Okay.
Popping your fruit of choice. Here, if you choose, you can green it up by adding some spinach. You can add the addition, if you choose, like I like to add some hemp seed powder, whatever you like to add in there.
Right.
I'm going to do 2 of my tea-infused ice cubes.
Okay.
So smoothie making, you would just normally add regular ice cubes. This is because I'm adding an extra element of flavor and the additional benefit of the lovely tea and herbal tisane being infused right into our drink. And then we're adding extra tea. We're adding our friend matcha. So I like to add about a teaspoon. This is our culinary matcha here. It's just going to add a fun green flavor and also lots of nice little pick-me-up of caffeine and matcha. Then you're just going to pop on your lid. And I like to blend this for about 30 seconds to a minute. After it's done blending with the magic of television, and it is a fun dark green color, so it's not bright and pink like our other beautiful thing.
Right.
The awesome part is,
gorgeous.
It's super bright in flavor. Right away, I'm getting like the citrus notes of the orange juice and the pineapple all coming together. And then the matcha adds that earthy vegetal element to it. If you added spinach, that'll balance out some of the sweetness as well. And this is something, as you said, you could have for breakfast or as an afternoon treat.
Love that. Love it. Delicious. Especially as more and more people are drinking calories instead of eating calories, right?
Exactly.
Right? So replacing a meal, substituting a meal, whatever that is, or a snack even, right? With a beverage, and having something that is a healthy snack or, you know, a healthy meal alternative. And I'm not talking about diets, everybody, so please don't message me later.
No.
I'm talking about, you know, you're in a rush and that's what you want to do, or after a workout, whatever. these are really, really healthy alternatives
Mhm.
to, you know, preservative packed, sugar packed, as you mentioned earlier, pre-made things that you'll find on the shelf, and you control what's in it.
That's what I love about it. And this can easily be customized. And as you said, an afternoon snack, I'm always like, what do I want? And it's a little harder to sit down and eat a whole pineapple, but to make
Yeah.
something quick and easy, and even as you're working, you could be sipping on it. And that's why I like adding like a protein powder or hemp powder to it.
Yeah.
With the fun of tea, it's an easy way to add a little spark of tea into your afternoon, even in the heat of the summer.
Perfect. And if you would have left the matcha out, that drink would have actually been quite bright red, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was experimenting earlier. Yeah, it had the and it depends also what fruit you add. If you add blueberries, it is still going to be a little bit darker, but with the pineapple and the strawberry, it does add a fun little burst of color. So yeah.
So what do you find people are most surprised by when you talk to them about iced tea?
Oh, I think we still get a lot of questions on how to make it.
Yeah.
And that could be like a 10-part answer, of course, if you're making one little cup like this to go or making a big pitcher. My number one tip is always, of course, don't brew it directly in the glass. If you're using heat, always use, if you have like a BPA-free plastic or a vessel that is made for iced tea, or like a glass that is made specifically for iced tea. So you don't want to use something delicate that could break and cause damage. I also say, and I believe I heard DAVIDsTEA mention this as well, using something like double or triple strength with your tea or herbal saison, so it's not diluted when we add our ice. Unless, of course, you're using an iced tea cube, which is fun as well. So that's another tip and trick. Another thing I always say is, like I mentioned with the frozen fruit, don't be afraid to add a splash of frozen fruit into your finished iced tea for a fun visual effect.
Right.
It's a great idea. Another huge hack that I love is pouring my drink half iced tea, half lemonade, kind of like that Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
But now we can play around with it, and not just traditional black tea. You can use that iced herbal saison that you have. Half of this lemon mango punch with half lemonade is lovely and fruity, and kids love it as well. So I would say to people, just like we're learning today, don't be afraid to get creative with your iced tea, and have fun doing little hacks, whether it's making a cocktail or a mocktail or jazzing up your smoothie. There's so much versatility in the world of iced tea. It's not just that traditional black tea anymore.
And I think that's really important, especially, you know, for Canadians. I find that the number one is, well, how do I make iced tea? Mm-hmm. And when you explain that it's as simple as making tea and putting it in the fridge, it's I think that people who haven't made it before tend to think that there's some big mystery involved here. There's no big mystery here. It really can be super, super simple. And if you start with that super simple, and then, as you say, start to experiment with it and use some of the hacks to make it even easier. Oh, the world is, it's endless with the types that you can have.
And what I find is nice about having the iced tea made now, and I don't know about other people, but if they're trying to hydrate, I keep one of these like 20-ounce ones on the go, and I'm constantly just topping up my iced tea, and it encourages you to drink more water and hydrate, especially in the summer, because it's fun and it tastes so good too. So just a nice way to like integrate more hydration into your day too, with fun flavors that, as you mentioned too, not about diet, but they're calorie-free and often sugar-free. Yeah. So that way you're able to add fun flavor without worrying about adding on a bunch of extra stuff that you might do.
Well, you take the chore out of hydrating, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I always feel like hydrating is a chore. It's like, oh God. Okay.
I know, but when it's an iced tea, you're so much more like excited.
I want to. Absolutely.
Cottage or keep a big thing of iced tea with you and just keep it, and it's going to be a lot more fun.
And what's the number one thing that you have what's your favorite iced tea in your fridge?
Ooh, okay, so I've been doing actually jasmine pearls a lot lately.
Oh, nice.
It's a little more of a fancy luxury iced tea. I just absolutely, it's so delicate, but that subtle taste of jasmine over ice is like incredible. For those that have jasmine pearls, you can steep them several times too. So I leave my little steeper with my pearls aside, and I'll re-steep it 2 or 3 times in a day. But that's been my go-to. But if I want something fruity, the lemon mango punch, anything with hibiscus and rose hip has been a go-to as well.
Very nice. I love the jasmine. We just hosted an event on Parliament in Ottawa on Monday. and I did the jasmine fizz.
Oh, beautiful! Oh, awesome!
And it was the syrup. So I made a jasmine syrup, jasmine simple syrup, and then chopped that up with club soda. And it was the same reaction with every single member of parliament, every senator, every one of their staff that came through. They all came into a tea event thinking they were going to get, you know, a cup of tea, and we handed them a champagne glass with jasmine in it.
And it's, I think, unexpected, which people are like, oh, because we're used to the traditional, you know, iced black tea, which is lovely. But like jasmine and flavors you wouldn't expect. I love that, Shabnam. That was such a cool experience.
They had fun. They said so, at least, anyways. All right, Katie. Always fun to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shabnam, so much for having me. Have a wonderful day and happy sipping.
And happy sipping to you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Fun ideas as always, and some really, really good hacks there. I'm reviewing some of them to be able to summarize them for you later. But I find that taking some of these hacks just take what sometimes people think is a chore out of doing some of these things. It just makes it a lot easier. Anyways, who is not a chore is introducing, or what is not a chore is introducing my next guest to you. You all know my next guest. You've certainly seen him on ICE TV as well as, I think, Entertaining with Tea. But more than that, you'll know him just because of his name. His name is probably in your cupboards, and his name is Stephen Twining. Stephen is 10th generation of the famous tea family, has known that he wanted to become involved in the family business from the age of 8. He joined Twinings in 1985, and after 9 years in a variety of jobs in sales, Stephen transferred to head office in Andover, where he's currently Director of Corporate Relations, incorporating media relations and business visits to Asia, Australia, Europe, Scandinavia, Middle East, as well as North and South America. So, with great pleasure, I would like to introduce you to Stephen Twining. Hi, Stephen.
Hello. Nice to see you again.
It's lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, we've got a lovely summer's day here, about 23 or 24 degrees, so perfect for iced tea.
Oh, well, that is fantastic, because I was in the UK last week and we did not have lovely summer weather ever. It was cold.
Yes, I apologize for that.
Don't. Don't. As a Canadian, I understand the need to want to apologize for the weather, but I think you're wonderful, Stephen, but even you don't have the power to control weather.
No, well, outside way over my pay grade, I'm afraid.
So, Stephen, you're going to make a watermelon and mint cold infused drink, and you're also going to make a probiotic peppermint and fennel. So, I'm going to say you start with whichever one you want to start with first.
Well, I think the probiotic peppermint and fennel takes a little bit longer, and I hope the noise of the kettle is not going to drown me out. So we need 4 bags.
Yeah.
Freshly boiled water. So obviously the standard procedure, I emptied my kettle out, I put fresh cold water into it, and it has just come to the boil and beaten me to it. And then we're going to have to brew that for 5 minutes. But it's worth going through the brewing process, that's for sure. Don't underbrew things, because you'll just sell yourself short on the flavour.
Yeah.
So here we go. Just hold those tags so they don't get into the drink. And
so we always use freshly boiled water for everybody watching, because we want the greatest flavor, because water that has been boiled before has no life in it, no oxygen, right?
Absolutely. It's the dissolved oxygen that gets the flavor off, whether it's a herbal or a true tea. That is the key ingredient in our friend, the kettle, the water. So I'm now going to add to this. I'm going to use agave syrup, but you could use equally honey, you could use stevia, but we need 2 tablespoons. Now, internationally, tablespoons vary in size. To an Englishman, a tablespoon is actually what you serve the food with and
Yes.
is considerably bigger than what we would call a dessert spoon. But I think in Canada, a serving spoon is what we would call a dessert spoon. It's slightly smaller. We don't want to over sweeten it. You can always add a little bit more.
Right.
And I'm just going to give it a stir because obviously we want to blend that agave syrup in while it's nice and hot.
Yep.
What you should then do, brew it for 5 minutes. I've got the old tiki timer on, and then cool it, put it in the fridge, and about 4 hours later,
Okay.
it will be ready. So happily, I got ahead of myself with 4 hours ago, and here is the freshly brewed and chilled peppermint and fennel.
Okay.
So now we need some glasses, we need some ice, very simple, couple of spoonfuls of ice in both. And then I'm literally going to pour the, divide it between the two. And that's about right.
Mm-hmm.
And then optionally, but I like it, so I'm definitely going to do it.
Okay.
Let's just put those so people can see them. I'm going to add some pomegranate, which is really nice. Yes.
I did not see that coming.
No, it's an unexpected twist. We'll just give that a little stir.
Oh, delicious.
Thank you. And cucumber. So the cucumber and the pomegranate to me just give it that little bit of subtlety and nuance that lifts it, takes down the sweetness a little bit, and then just for good measure, a sprig of mint. And sorry, my screen went blank there for a moment.
No. I might be frozen because I'm just sitting with my mouth open. Okay, so I didn't see the pomegranate coming, and I didn't see the cucumber coming.
Yeah, no. And yes, so serve it into the glasses, let it really cool down before you give it to guests, maybe a couple of minutes, be prepared for them. And let those flavors infuse in.
I love that. Perfect.
Really simple, just a little bit, so about a 4 hour gap to let it cool in the fridge, let it come out, and it's beautiful temperature, ready to go. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat.
You must try it. You must try it. I love that. Okay. So
yeah, really soft and subtle flavors. Just a hint of the cucumber. Yeah, lovely. Really great.
I tell people all the time to think of things outside of what you would traditionally do. And like I said, I didn't see those two coming. So great. Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. Always we like to delight and surprise. So the second one is actually much easier. We've got 200 milliliters of water in a cup, and I'm using the cold infuse melon and mint. And if it says on the product that it's safe to brew in cold water, you can literally just do this. Drop them into cold water, and it'll take 5 minutes, and they will infuse beautifully. So I'm going to let that sit there, and you'll just, as I talk a bit more, the color will change, and you'll see it infusing in cold water, which is just it's probably the most important technological breakthrough in my lifetime in tea. It's that important in my opinion. It's just incredible.
Can you sorry, just to interrupt you really quickly, can you just tell everybody explain to people what is the difference between a cold infused bag and a regular tea bag? Like, what is the difference? Why is it important?
A regular tea bag is designed to be brewed, steeped in boiling water, or if it's green tea, obviously slightly lower, but water that is at the right temperature for the right product, right tea. And you shouldn't brew them cold, A, because it takes ages, and B, there are a couple of other reasons too. But yes, so if it says cold, suitable for cold brewing or cold brew or whatever the name is, in our case it's called cold infuse. That means you can drop it into cold water. It'll brew within 5 minutes, absolutely perfectly. You can see already the colour is really starting to change. And yeah, so very easy. Normally I just drop one of these in my water bottle. It'll make a very decent amount of a drink, and then as long as you consume that within 8 hours, it's entirely safe. Because it's going to be 6 o'clock shortly over here in the UK, here is one I prepared earlier.
Okay.
But much more excitingly, I didn't use water. I used Prosecco.
Oh, yes. You infused it directly in the Prosecco? Yeah.
And my tip is, like I added the bags to the water, add the bags to the Prosecco rather than pour the Prosecco over the bags. You're going to get a lot of froth coming out of it, a lot of bubble, and you might make a mess. So yeah, put the Prosecco in the glass, add the bags in. 5 minutes again, it's perfect brewing time. And then you've got this beautiful looking drink already. But we never stop there. We need to garnish it with some ice. Just to get that temperature right down. There we go. Get a little effervescence going. And I like this, again, with a sprig of mint to enhance that little mint flavour, and a tiny bit of lime. I'm going to give it a slight squeeze, but I don't want to really get the lime juice in there. It's just really to break up the outside surface of the lime, make sure that we get a good infusion. Little stir, and because of the time in the UK, I can say cheers.
Cheers to you. I love that. Steeping cold infusion straight into the Prosecco.
Yeah.
Love it. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, Prosecco comes in 200 ml bottles, which is exactly what you want for this recipe. So it's made to measure.
It is absolutely perfection. I love it. So the next step will be for somebody in tea to do that and then bottle it back into that Prosecco bottle.
I like your thinking a lot. That really is taking it to the next level.
Right?
Okay.
There you go. It's yours. If we see this on the Twinings shelf, all I ask for is a sample.
yeah. Well, I think I have to catch you in on some commission there.
A sample will do just fine. I love that, Stephen. Thank you so much. It's always a delight to speak to you. I didn't see you at the dinner last week. I was so sorry to not have seen you.
Yeah, I'm afraid I was otherwise engaged, had a long-standing engagement in my diary, and I was away from the business.
That's all right, next time.
Yeah, but I haven't missed this.
What was that?
I haven't missed this event, which is far more important.
No, exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your time. It really always is a pleasure chatting with you. And you know that I love your products. You guys not only are, I've said this before to you, and I've said this to others as well in this environment. I think that what's so special about Twinings is that you're a company with such a long history, and companies with long histories can sometimes get trapped in its history, and you haven't. You're constantly innovating and constantly changing. And I mean, infusing tea directly into Prosecco is already a testament to that. So thank you.
Pleasure as always. Lovely to see you. You
too, Stephen. Take care. Enjoy your evening and enjoy your cocktail.
Yep. Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, what fun. All right. So I've done infusions into alcohol before. I've talked about it in your bottles of gin or your bottles of vodka, and to make that and then have that to mix it. But I don't know why it didn't occur to me, and it didn't, I have to admit it, to do the cold infusion straight into a Prosecco. There you go. Another thing learned today. So moving on to last and most certainly not least, another guest favorite, Will Dixon. Will Dixon is tea buyer at Taylor's of Harrogate, the home of our lovely and fabulous Yorkshire tea. He's been with the company now for 10 years after starting with them as a trainee tea buyer Will has traveled to many countries to visit tea estates: Kenya, India, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Ethiopia, and Malawi. Before becoming a tea buyer, this is my favorite tea fact, or fact, not tea fact, about Will, is that he was a sheep farmer in the Scottish borders. Hello, Will.
Good evening, Shabnam. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you again. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. It was lovely to see you last week.
It was lovely to see you last week as well. So Will and I saw each other at the UK Tea Trade dinner last week, and we commented on how wonderful it is to see people without a screen around their heads and to realize that Will is really tall.
Yeah, about 6'4", just under 6'4", so yes.
Well, and I have to admit that, you know, somebody who's 5'2", everybody is very tall, but I was wearing some sizable heels and you were still very tall. So lovely to see you in person, Will.
Nice to be back.
Thank you for making the time as always. And you are going to make us 2 beverages today. One is the jasmine and lychee iced green tea, and the second is a Yorkshire milk tea. So lychee is one of my favorite fruits.
Good.
I think one of the big underrated fruits that just isn't, it was kind of trendy for a little while and then it fell off. So I think lychee needs to make a comeback.
Great. Good. And it sounds like you've made this one before anyway, near enough, when you were talking about the jasmine earlier as well.
Well, let's see your version. I don't know. Maybe
we'll
I
start
haven't.
with that one. So what we've started doing is basically an infused water. You know, you put water in the fridge, you add flavors. So I've done that with the base this time. So I don't know if you can see, we've got the lychees in the soda water. So that's been infusing since first thing this morning. I put everything in the fridge together this morning, the tea, the soda water and ice cubes. So hopefully getting some good lychee flavor in there as well.
So inside there, you've got the tea, the soda water, and the lychee?
No, just the soda
water
and the lychee.
In the water. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So for this one, I'm using the Taylor's of Harrogate green jasmine tea bag.
Perfect.
Which is a Chinese green jasmine tea.
Yep.
So again, brewed to normal strength. We'll go this side.
Yep.
Normal strength. So yeah, just the way you normally have it, chill it down. Don't want to overbrew the green tea, so it might get a little bit harsh if you overbrew it. So normal strength, chilled in the fridge. So before I went to work this morning, brewed it, popped it in the fridge. Likewise, as I said, with the lychees and soda water.
Perfect.
So then it's pretty simple since then. So again, we've done essentially jasmine-free ways this time. So we've got the jasmine tea.
Yeah.
We've got I made some jasmine sugar syrup, like you were mentioning
earlier.
earlier.
Okay. Yes.
So we're gonna sweeten it with that, and a bit like Katie had done. I don't know if you can quite see there. We've got the jasmine ice cubes as well, again for that same reason, so it doesn't dilute the drink as it cools down.
Okay. You are doubling down on that jasmine.
Yeah. It's a bit like get a restaurant. You have pork-free ways. We've got jasmine-free ways too. Okay. So then, pretty much straightforward. Put the ice cubes in.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the sugar syrup in.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit thick, my sugar syrup tonight.
That's okay.
Then, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Then top up.
Brilliant.
So yeah, taking on that nice flavour. Still see the lychees through. A little bit of a stir. And then in a glass, obviously.
Mmm.
And then I've got just a little bit of lychee and lime garnish to serve as well.
Gorgeous.
So very straightforward. Not a lot of time this morning. 10 minutes before I went to work.
Yeah.
Made the tea, chilled the tea, put the ice cube from the same tea, made the sugar syrup from the same tea.
So simple.
Put the fruit and the water in the fridge, and there we go.
So simple and so refreshing.
Yeah. Well, as you said before, the more simple it is, the more likely people are going to try it and realise how easy it is just to make something. Pick the flavours you like and just experiment, really. And
you can control the sweetness by how much of the sugar, the jasmine sugar syrup you put in, right? Yeah,
and I used tinned lychees today. I couldn't get any fresh lychees, so you can always use the syrup from the tinned lychees as well. So that saves you a job making any sugar syrup as well. So so pretty straightforward, really.
I would actually think that for this purpose, the tin is probably even better, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think that would probably, I'm imagining that it would infuse in the water that you put into the fridge better.
Yeah, I think that extra sweetness comes through when it's
Yeah.
tin. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
on my list
straightforward,
of things to try. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're going to go other side of the world, but again, very straightforward. And hopefully, I don't know if milk tea is very popular in Canada.
It is.
It's very popular there. So yeah, we
It
did a little a thing at work. Basically, we were doing a staff engagement day and showing them the tea that we export. Obviously, we do a lot in the UK, send some to Canada, obviously, but we do some in South Korea. So we thought we'd show people at work how different people around the world consume our products, basically. So this recipe for the Yorkshire milk tea came straight from South Korea. So we've got it straight from them. And again, very straightforward ingredients you've got at home. If you drink tea, you've got these ingredients. So easy to make. You don't have to go and buy anything, especially because it's all there at home. So basically, I've used the Yorkshire loose leaf in this occasion because I brewed up the tea, the sugar, and milk. Basically, rather than using water to brew your tea, and you're using milk on this occasion. So basically, a couple 100 ml of milk, 12 grams of tea, 30 grams of sugar. So quite a lot of sugar in this one. It is quite sweet. It goes well with the milk. Yeah. And the Yorkshire loose leaf is quite a fine loose leaf tea. So again, that works really well with the milk. It helps that flavour cut through the milk because of the greater surface area exposed when you're brewing the tea. So basically, the tea, the milk, and the sugar in a little pan on the hob. Heat it up, bring it to the boil, and then stir constantly, basically, and then filter, pass through a sieve to remove the tea leaves, and you get the start of it. So it's in a flask at the moment. It's still warm, this one. So you can see there, it's still quite a strong tea to it. So at that stage, we're then going to add some ice. So again, we're just using plain ice cubes this time. So it is a chilled drink, so ice. And again, this is very straightforward. So then we're just going to top it with milk. So a very milky drink. So the tea and the sugar to cut through it makes it very nice. And the hot version, as you travel around the world, you get a lot of milk and tea brewed concoctions, but then we're just going to chill it down on this occasion. Very sweet. But again, that's nice that it is, but we're just going to do a little bit extra as well on this occasion. So if you're feeling indulgent, we're going to add a scoop of ice cream. And just a little bit of mint from the garden as well. Nice. It makes a very nice after dinner sweet treat, mid-afternoon sweet treat.
What a perfect dessert.
The sugar, the tea, the mint, it's lovely. Yeah. And again, so straightforward. You've got all those ingredients at home. Again, it took me, 5 minutes to boil up the tea. Then you just make it. You add a bit of ice, bit of more milk. Give it a mix, bit of ice cream if you like it, and nice. And
delicious. I love the add of ice cream. You know what I would add to that, Will? The only thing missing?
Yeah.
A little splash of Kahlua.
Okay, very nice. Yeah.
I think that would be like, that creaminess.
Yeah.
Yum.
Delicious.
So, do you have iced tea in your refrigerator?
Not very often. We're doing quite well at the moment so far. Obviously, since you left the UK, the summer's arrived pretty much. It's been a lovely week. I think we're in for a very hot weekend.
The summer arrived.
Yeah. So I think, especially with some of these ingredients left over, there'll be some over the weekend when I think we're due. Maybe we're not quite as far south as Stephen, but maybe 25, 26 degrees up north. So yes, I will keep some in the fridge over the weekend.
You're doing better than we are. We're in the teens at the moment. It's horrible here. So there you go. I can't. I'm envious. Well, it's always a delight. Thank you so much, Will, for some really, really delicious recipes and flavors. I love the lychee, or lychee. That's a tomato conversation. We both know what we're talking about. And I love that infusion, and I love mixing it, and I love the fact that you layered your jasmine. Like, there's always more. Like, you can always just keep adding flavor and flavor and flavor, which is really, really delightful. Thank you, dear Will. Enjoy the rest of your
evening. Lovely to see you, and we look forward to seeing you again soon, hopefully.
You're always invited. Always, always, always. Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Have a good
Take
day.
care. You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye. What fun recipes. All right. What did I learn today? So freezing ice cubes. I've told you guys about that before, but seeing it and seeing the beauty of it is wonderful. You saw that not only in Katie's, but also in the way that Will made it. It's so simple to make, and it just keeps adding. I mean, it's got multiple purposes, right? You can add flavor to whatever it is that you're making. You can use it to chill down your beverage without diluting it. And you can just keep on accentuating the same flavor that you're doing as you just saw with the jasmine. The simple syrup one is one that I've done before. I think that we've got a recipe on our website for that, the jasmine fizz, but it is so easy. And I think that that's one of the tips that I took away really, and I hope that you took away as well from all of our guests, is that some of these things, if you pre-make them and just have them in your fridge sort of as stock ingredients, will make the process of doing things spontaneously so much easier. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about ice cubes in your freezer. I'm talking about making a simple syrup, which is simply infusing your tea into equal parts of sugar and water. And I have squirt bottles. So I pour that into a squirt bottle and I pop that into my refrigerator, and I just have all these different squirt bottles, and I can use it to make either an iced tea with just water. I can use it to put club soda, or after 5 o'clock, it might land its way inside of a cocktail. So ice cubes pre-made, simple syrups pre-made, really, really easy. I love the tip of infusing fruit inside of your water that you just saw from Will. That's another great, simple way to have something on hand that just adds another layer of flavor. And I think sort of having what in the chef world is called a mise en place, having these pre-made things inside of your fridge will make the process so much simpler. And then just the beauty of the whole process. And Rikko's gorgeous, gorgeous ice cubes with the delicate flowers inside of that. If you don't want flowers, why don't you put in some tea leaves? You can actually put tea leaves, botanicals, chamomile, lavender, rose, dehydrated fruit directly into your ice cubes, pour water on top, and then you just have a lovely garnish to put inside of it as well. And then, of course, the lovely Stephen Twining. And don't be afraid to take something that is out of the ordinary. And that means putting pomegranates and cucumbers into your iced teas. What delicious flavors. I hope that you've taken away some really fun ideas. I know that I'm looking forward to all of them, especially reliving my watermelon margarita. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week with another slew of fantastic guests, which I will again be learning great things from for iced tea. So get out there. I don't care if the temperature's not hot enough. We all need to hydrate, and hydrating with a chilled tea is a great, great alternative to sugary beverages that, quite frankly, none of us need in our lives. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Take care.